Hello, we are going to see phase lock loop as FM demodulator. A phase lock loop, that is PLL, is basically a negative feedback system. It can use to track the phase and the frequency of the carrier component of an incoming signal. It is a useful device for synchronous demodulation of AM signals with suppressed carrier or with a little carrier. It can also be used for the demodulation of angle modulated signals, especially under low signal noise ratio conditions. Basically, a PLL consists of a phase detector, that is a double balance mixer, a low pass filter, an error amplifier in the forward path, and an voltage control oscillator in the feedback path. Okay, before going into the working conditions, we'll see what is meant by phase difference and frequency difference. As you can see in the first diagram, the two signals has a phase difference of 5. As you can clearly see, though they have same frequency, they have a phase difference. Now coming to the second diagram, you can see that there is a frequency difference. When you compare consider this is the time period of the T of our first signal. When comparing it with the second one, it is half of our first signal. Okay, this is the frequency difference. Next, coming to the working. The operation of a PLL is similar to any other feedback system where the feedback tends to follow the input signal. The same principle works in our PLL, except that the quantity fed back and the compared is not the amplitude but the phase. As I said before, it has a PLL circuit has a phase detector, a low pass filter, an error amplifier, and an voltage control oscillator. Okay, first, voltage control oscillator. It's nothing but an oscillator whose frequency can be controlled by an external voltage, and it produces an frequency that varies linearly with the input frequency. This is uh, this is the one which plays an important role in our PLL. Actually, it adjusts its own frequency until it is equal to the input sinusoid. So at this point, the frequency and the phase of the incoming signal and the output of the VCO is in synchronization. Okay, now going into the circuit. First, an FM signal is applied to the input of the phase detector, and the VOC is tuned to a nominal frequency equal to the unmodulated carrier frequency with a phase shift of 90 degree. And this phase detector produces an error voltage depending upon the frequency and the phase difference between the output of the VCO and instantaneous frequency of the FM. Okay. As the input frequency deviates from the center frequency, the error voltage produced as a result of frequency difference after passing through the low pass filter. After passing through the low pass filter, it passes through an error amplifier which drives the control of the input of the VCO to keep its output frequency always in lock with the instantaneous frequency of our FM signal. So, as a result, we can say that the error amplifier always represents the detected output. Okay, and the main function of this loop is that um, it always adjusts the angle such that phase of the VCO and the FM is in zero. There is no phase difference between our input signal and our VCO. Okay, and there is something special about our phase detector, that is it suppresses any carrier level changes. So our PLL based FM detector requires no additional linear circuit. Here you can see clearly this orange line. The orange line represents our input signal, that is our input FM wave. and our blue line represents our output frequency. As you can see, the VCO output at beginning has a 90-degree phase shift, and due to the feedback mechanism, it slowly tries to capture the input signal, and finally there is a zero phase difference between our input and the output, and the below diagram represents our filtered error signal. Okay, next, the stages of operation of PLL. It is operated in three stages, that is free running frequency and capture range and lock range. Free running frequency is nothing but the center frequency of VCO. It occurs when no input is applied to the phase detector. Our PLL output frequency is equal to free running frequency. Capture range. Range of input frequency for which an initially unlocked loop will lock on input signal. It occurs when an input signal is applied at the phase detector, and due to the feedback mechanism, PLL tries to track the output with respect to the input. Next, lock range. Range of frequencies over which loop will remain in phase locked mode with respect to the incoming wave. Due to the feedback mechanism, the frequency comparison stops when input frequency is equal to the output frequency. Okay, as you can see here before, to define capture range, as you can see from here, our VCO output slowly tries to come in lock with the input FM wave. So you can say that is, it tries to captures. At last, the phase gets locked. You can see it here. And generally, our lock range is always larger than the capture range. Now coming to the mathematical explanation, assume that VCO is adjusted initially so that when the control voltage comes to 0, the following conditions are satisfied. That is, the frequency of VCO is precisely set to the unmodulated carrier frequency, and it has a 90-degree phase shift with respect to the unmodulated carrier wave. Now, defining our FM signal as S of t is equal to A sine of omega ct plus phi 1 of t, where A is our amplitude of our unmodulated carrier wave and omega c is our angular carrier frequency, which is equal to 2 pi fc. Now, defining our phase phi 1 of t as 2 pi kf integral 0 to t x of t dt, where x of t is our message signal and kf is frequency sensitivity. Coming to the VCO output, which is defined as B of t is equal to AV cos omega ct plus phi 2 of t, where AV is amplitude of the VCO and phi 2 of t is the phase angle, and omega c, as you know, it is an angular carrier frequency. Here, the phi 2 of t is defined as 2 pi kV integral 0 to t V of t dt, where kV is our frequency sensitivity of VCO, which is measured in Hertz per volt. Next, as I said, the phase detector acts as a multiplier. That is, it multiplies the incoming FM wave and the VCO output. So, S of t into B of t, which is equal to A into AV sine of omega ct plus phi 1 of t into cos of omega ct plus phi 2 of t. In trigonometry, we have a formula sine of a plus b into cos a plus b equal to 1 by 2 sine of a minus b plus sine of a plus b. Using this formula, we are getting our E of t, that is our error voltage, which is equal to Km into A into AV by 2 into sine of phi 1 of t minus phi 2 of t plus sine of 2 omega ct plus phi 1 of t plus phi 2 of t, where Km is nothing but our multiplier gain measured in per volt, and the sine of phi 1 of t minus phi 2 of t represents low frequency component, and the sine of 2 omega ct plus phi 1 of t plus phi 2 of t represents high frequency component. When this error voltage is passed into the low pass filter, this high frequency component is eliminated. So as a result, we get E of t is equal to Km into A into AV by 2 into sine of phi 1 of t minus phi 2 of t, where this phi 1 of t minus phi 2 of t is nothing but our phase error. Okay. Next, considering the phase error, as we know it is phi 1 of t minus phi 2 of t, and we have already defined phi 2 of t as 2 pi kV integral 0 to t v of t, substituting in the equation, and the loop filter operates on the error voltage E of t to produce an output V of t, which is defined as V of t is equal to integral minus infinity to plus infinity E of tau into H of t minus tau into d tau, where H of t is nothing but our impulse response of the low pass filter. Substituting this in our phi E of t, and we are getting this equation, and here kV Km into A into AV by 2 is replaced as K0, where K0 is our loop gain parameter. Now, phi of t, this equation, the phase error equation, is differentiated on the both sides. As a result, we get d phi of t by dt is equal to d phi 1 of t by dt minus 2 pi K0 integral minus infinity to plus infinity sine of phi e of tau into h of t minus tau d tau. Based on this equation, we have drawn the equivalent circuit of the PLL. Okay. Next, when the phase error is 0, then the PLL is said to be locked. So that means our VC output and our incoming frequency has no phase difference. Okay, and then the phase error at all times is small compared to 1 radian, then we can approximate sine phi e of t as phi e of t, and it is almost accurate as long as phase error is less than 0.5 radian, then PLL is said to be in near lock condition. Okay, next in PLL we have linearized model, which is based on a theorem, linear feedback theorem, which states that when the open loop transfer function of linear feedback system has a loop magnitude compared to unity for all frequencies, the closed loop transfer function of the system is effectively determined by the inverse of the transfer function of the feedback path. Okay, for example, consider a negative feedback amplifier. As in, a negative feedback amplifier has a gain which is equal to nu by 1 plus nu beta. Now, considering the open loop condition, our nu beta is much larger than 1, and neglecting this one, and nu cancels out. So, as a result, we get 1 by beta, that is beta inverse. And the theorem is proved here. Okay. And coming to our linearized model, it is giving the relationship between the phase error to the input phase by the integral differential equation. As you can see the equation here, it has an integral term and then differential term. Okay. Based on the theorem, we can observe three things from the PLL circuit. That is, the first one is the feedback path. As you can see, the feedback path is scaled by an integral circuit, and the inverse of the feedback path is described in the time domain, that is scaled by an differentiator. Okay, as you can see here. And second, we can observe that the closed loop time behavior uh, totally depends upon the overall voltage V of t, which is in response of phi 1 of t. That is the second observation. And our third observation is that the magnitude of the open loop transfer function is controlled by our K0, that is our loop gain parameter. These are the observation. Okay, now coming to the equation, taking Fourier transform on both sides. So we get phi e of f is equal to 1 by 1 plus k0 h of f by j of f into phi 1 of f. Replacing the term k naught into h of f by j of f as L of f, and assuming that the L of f is much larger than 1. So under this condition our phi of f becomes tends to 0. So the phase of the VCO becomes asymptotically equal to the phase of the incoming wave, and the phase lock is thereby established. Okay, now assume our k naught is much larger, then our phase error becomes 0. That is phi 1 of t is approximately equal to phi 2 of t. So now taking our v of t, which is approximately equal to 1 by 2 pi kb into d phi 1 of t by dt. As we have defined phi 1 of t as 2 pi kf integral 0 to t x of t dt, substituting in this equation, after differentiation we are getting kf by kv into x of t, where kf by kv is nothing but our scaling factor and x of t is our message signal. So we can conclude that the overall voltage, that is v of t, is directly proportional to x of t, that is message signal. That's all about the mathematical explanation. Now coming to its applications. It is easy to balance. It is of low cost, highly reliable. It has a high degree of linearity in output of error amplifier, and it requires no tuned circuits. And its disadvantages are variations in temperature, supply voltage, and manufacturing process affects the stability, and low power increases the jitter levels, that is errors in the circuit. And applications, it is applied in space vehicle to earth data links, or where the loss along the transmission line or path is quite large, and in frequency synthesizer, in clock recovery, in reference cleanup, and frequency demodulation. Thank